Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Good evening. Welcome to your Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Percy Dehne. This is your weather for July 20th, 2017. Starting off for the fire danger, we have high to extreme categories here just east of the south of the Brooks Range from the eastern portions, ascending all the way over to Seward Peninsula as well as over the western Brooks Range. And there's high to extreme values also over the just north of the lower Kuskokwim Valley there, just north of the Alaska Range. Started off with the satellite, put it in the loop. We still have this occluded low pressure system that's sitting just south of the Kodiak region. Over the southeast panhandle, you have the southerly flow with a occluded front draping through the Gulf here. So with that, plenty of moisture that's streaming northward all the way up into the Anchorage Bowl. And then as you go farther along the western Aleutians, we have this remnants of this other occluded system front right through the central Aleutians there, just east of Adak. So with that, there'll have some light rain as it moves southward. Otherwise, the rest of the Bering has some stratus and fog in those areas through the central to northern Bering. Farther north, we have a weak stationary front that's through the Brooks Range, and with that you have some cloud cover and some thunderstorms that's kicking off today. Otherwise, the main story is, again, is this high pressure that's dominating the Bering. That'll continue to build in the next couple days. As you can see, the high pressure ridge as well is over the southeast panhandle south of Hattagawai. Otherwise, as this front continues to move eastward, this moisture will sooner get in here by Friday to Saturday time frame for the southeast panhandle. So some moisture getting into the northern portion, but look for continued moisture coming in for the southeast panhandle. For today's weather, here's just included low pressure system with that scattered rain showers with that behind the system. Otherwise, out ahead of it with the front, you're going to have onshore southeasterly winds pretty much through the northern coastal communities. Some light intermittent drizzle there over the southeast panhandle. Otherwise, farther north, as I mentioned before, this weak stationary front is draped along the Brooks Range. It's been kicking off some thunderstorms pretty much north of the Alaska Range and south of the Brooks Range there, and some isolated thunderstorms over the eastern Brooks Range this evening and this afternoon. Otherwise, farther north over the Beaufort Sea, you have a high pressure dominating right there for right now. With that, you're having some marine layer stratus, some fog, and some light drizzle. Otherwise, the rest of the Bering, you have high pressure dominating with that ridge of high pressure stretching all the way up to the Bering Strait. So with that, you're going to have areas of light drizzle and fog and some fog issues there. Otherwise, here's that remnants of that occluded system I mentioned before that's starting to push eastward and southward, and that'll continue to dissipate. Tonight's forecast, the high pressure will continue to build all the way up through the Bering Strait with that continued light fog, intermittent drizzle with the high pressure. Otherwise, that occluded system that's over the Gulf will continue to fill and gradually move eastward. That occluded front will move farther east and a little bit farther north. So with that, you'll have southeasterly push of light rain and fog that will get into the southeast panhandle later tonight and as well in tomorrow. And then farther north, that weak stationary front is not moving very far, but with that, you're going to have continued for tonight some isolated thunderstorms there over the east, just south of the eastern Brooks Range. Otherwise, some scattered showers along the stationary front as it stretches through the lower Chukchi Sea there. Otherwise, high pressure still dominates over the Arctic slope there. With that, you have some light fog with that. Otherwise, that's going to be pretty much it. For the southwest, you're going to have some scattered showers there and a dry slot extending along the Alaska Range as well as the Anchorage Bowl. Friday's forecast, so the high pressure continues to build as it goes through the southeast, southwest territory, that is. With that continued marine layer stratus, some light fog and some light drizzle and light rain. Otherwise, you have a front that's going to dig down through the eastern Siberian region into the lower Chukchi Sea. With that, you'll have some scattered rain showers. Then a stationary front will drape through the eastern Brooks Range. With that, again, with some scattered rain showers. Or from east of Barrow, you'll have a high pressure anomaly, but you'll have some marine layer stratus as well as some some fog in those areas. For the southeast panhandle, you have continued this front, a cooler front will be breaking apart and dissipating eventually, but with that you'll still on a southeasterly onshore push, so you'll have plenty of moisture that's going to be coming into the southeast, trying to make it up to the Skagway, but not quite. Otherwise, there'll be some wraparound moisture that will make it into the Kodiak region for Friday's forecast. Then Saturday's forecast, this high pressure ridge will continue to move eastward. With that, it will bring warmer temperatures to the southwest region. But as this cold front pushes through the central northern bearing, you'll have some scattered showers with that and some scattered showers out behind it. Otherwise, out ahead of it, you're going to have a warm front entering the lower Chukchi Sea, but a stationary front through the Brooks Range. And with that, you'll have some scattered rain showers. High pressure will be dominating the Arctic slope, but with that, you'll have fog issues up there, but also just south of it, you'll have some scattered rain showers. And then the southeast, you'll have the remnants of that occluded system that's falling apart, but miniature short waves will be pushing on shore. So with that, each short wave, you'll have a push of scattered rain showers and some fog for the southeast panhandle, and that'll be for Saturday and Saturday night. Temperatures as of 1 p.m. today. Started off with the southeast. Again, they're pretty much in the mid-50s to lower 60s, 63 there at Seward, British Columbia, 58 at Kloak, 62 at Yakutat, and 61 at Skagway. Then the south central region, we had 61 at Cordova, a little warmer up there in Glen Allen, 65, 67 at Talkeetna. We had Valdez at 57, and then Anchorage at 65. Then going down to southeast Kenai, you're going to have you're 62 at Homer, as well as Kenai had come in at 62. Kodiak was at 55. Then farther north, again, the warmest temperatures was at Eagle Airport. It was cooler at Antovik, again with that stationary front and cooler air coming in, so they got down to 48. But he did, with a warm front draping through the eastern Brooks Range, it allowed not Eagle Airport, but Arctic Village here to climb up to 74 as of 1 p.m. Otherwise, the cooler temperatures, again, were along the Arctic coastline, 39 at Barrel, 39 at Dead Horse. And then in the mid-50s as you go through the lower Chukchi Sea, and then 60 at Wales. You extend down through the southwest coastline, you got 54 at Hooper Bay. And then along the chain, you're going to pretty much have in the mid-50s, a little bit warmer there at 64 coming down there at Pilot Point. But otherwise, you get down, you get 50 at Dutch, 46 at St. Paul and St. Matthew Island, and then 52 at Adak and 45 at Shemya, all the way on the western Aleutians. Tonight's low temperatures. Not surprising, going to be along the Arctic coastline, again with the cooler temperatures coming off the Beaufort Sea. So you're going to be in the mid-30s to lower 30s. Otherwise, warmer temperatures will be in throughout the lower Kuskokwim Valley, extending up through Tanana Valley in the Yukon, Fort Yukon area. And then anyway, as you go along the chain, Alaska Peninsula, they're going to be in the 50s. A little bit cooler at western Aleutians at 44 there at Shemya, and as well as 44 at St. Paul. The southeast panhandle will pretty much be in the lower 50s. 53 will be the low there at Sitka for tonight. Tomorrow's high temperatures, not surprising, you're going to get that push of the ridge building in, so it's going to be warmer temperatures through the southwest, extending up through lower Yukon Valley into the Tanana region valley. And anyway, with that, you're going to have pretty much in the mid to upper 70s. Cooler temperatures will be along the Arctic coastline, but otherwise pretty much modified out in the 50s there. The southeast, again with that onshore push, that included front that's sitting over the southeast panhandle, you're still going to get up to into the mid 60s. Flying weather. pretty much the Bering and the Aleutians are pretty much dominated by IFR to marginal VFR conditions with that low marine layer stratus and fog. You're going to have with that high pressure system that's ridge building in all the way up into the lower Chukchi Sea, as well as you got the high up here as well in the Beaufort Sea. So IFR to marginal VFR conditions for there. Over the southeast and the Gulf, you're going to have the worst conditions again with that occluded front that's starting to fall apart, but you will get some marginal VFR into the Dixon entrance. And on the backside, some of the marginal VFR conditions will reach into the Kodiak region. And then for the afternoon, pretty much the same story. The high pressure is not moving much, so continued IFR, worst conditions over the Bering and extending it up all the way up into the lower Chukchi Sea and the Beaufort. In the southeast, that occluded front will move farther east and a little bit farther north there, so it will bring in worse conditions, IFR, into the Dixon entrance, but marginal VFR will almost make it up to Skagway for tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow's flying pass conditions are to say AKwx marginal VFR to VFR, and then Attigan marginal VFR to VFR, and then Lake Clark and Merrill VFR conditions, and then rainy VFR conditions. Windy, marginal VFR to VFR. Isabel, VFR to marginal VFR. Mentaska, VFR to VFR. Tanita, marginal VFR to VFR. And then Portage, VFR conditions. Chillicook and White, VFR conditions. And then tomorrow morning's freezing levels. Not surprising, it's 14,000 over the western Aleutians and up to 12,000 there over the northern Bering Sea. Again, that's with that ridge of high pressure going all the way up into the lower Chukchi Sea there. But the lower freezing levels are going to be over the Arctic coastline, and that's with that cooler air in that trough that's digging down from the north. So you got 2,000 feet over the Arctic coastline. Over the southeast panhandle, again, with that occluded front, you're going to have 10,000 feet for your freezing levels. A little lower as you get south of the Gulf there with a cold core low that's stacked vertically there, 6,000 feet. And tomorrow's icing, you'll have light to occasional moderate, again, over the lower Chukchi Sea, extending up to through the Beaufort Sea. And then you'll have light occasional moderate, pretty much from Kodiak extending all the way to the southeast panhandle. Worst conditions will be light occasional widespread moderate from the Dixon entrance southeastward past Hattagwai. And then tomorrow's jet stream, continued northwesterly flow with this subtropical jet, northerly 60 knots, and then it gets to the base of the long wave and it transitions to southwesterly, and then it's a little stronger, 120 knots south of the Gulf here into the North Pacific, and then it transitions to 70 knots there into lower 48. There is on the backside of these upper level lows, vertically stacked, you have northeasterly 60 knot jet there, as well along the Alaska Peninsula before it crosses into the central Aleutians and into the North Pacific. Farther north, you have a westerly polar jet. It's strongest southwesterly, just over just north of Barrow, over the lower Beaufort Sea. Then it transitions to more northwesterly, 80 knots. Then before it transitions to southerly, going up, excuse me, farther north in the Arctic Ocean. Tomorrow's 9,000 foot winds. You're going to have anticyclonic flow with this high pressure over the Bering. To the north, you would have southwesterly 25 knots. A little stronger over the lower Beaufort Sea with that stronger cold core low that's over the Beaufort Sea. So 35 to 30 knots as you go farther north, northwesterly flow there. Then it's pretty much weak 10 northeasterly to northerly 10 to 20 as you get through the southwest territory as well through the eastern Bering. For the southeast, you have that vertically stacked cold core low. So with that, you have the strongest winds out ahead of it, southwesterly 30 knots, and then northeasterly 20-25 knots on the backside of the system as it goes down through Kodiak into the North Pacific. Otherwise, it's central interior, a westerly flow, 15 to 25 knots. Tomorrow's 3,000 foot winds, pretty much the same story. Anticyclonic flow, the weak winds around the high pressure there. A little bit, northwesterly, 15 to 25 knots south of the chain. But farther north over the eastern Bering, eastern Siberian region, that is, you're going to have a southwesterly flow, 15 to 20 knots. Again, the weak northerly flow over the southwest territory, 15 knots. You get across the eastern Aleutians. Again, this vertically stacked low, you're going to have the 25 knots southeasterly out ahead of it, and then northeasterly 25 knots, then northerly south of Kodiak. And then farther interior, continued zonal flow westerly, 10 knots through the interior, then a little stronger as you get to along the Arctic coastline, 25, 30 knots there. And then tomorrow's turbulence. You're going to have a light to occasional moderate over the Anchorage, not Anchorage, but the Kodiak region, extending down the east side of the Alaska Peninsula to the Shumagon Islands. And then you're going to have light, occasional moderate over the southeast panhandle, basically from Sitka southeast past the Hattagwai. And then farther north, you're going to have light to occasional widespread and moderate, just off the northwest coastline there from Wainwright northward into the Beaufort Sea. We'll be back with your Marines after this.
One month until the big one.
Hey there, stargazers. I'm Dehne, astronomer for the Cincinnati Observatory.
And I'm James Albury, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida. We're here to help you find your way around the sky. We've been counting down the days, months, and years for one special astronomical event.
That's right, James. I've been waiting my whole adult life to see the big one. On August 21st, 2017, we will have a total solar eclipse crossing the United States.
This is the best astronomical event you will ever see. Better than a lunar eclipse, better than a comet, even better than...
No, don't say it, don't say it.
Better than a planetary conjunction.
Yeah, it's true. When the moon completely blocks out the sun, this is something you cannot miss. We have 1 month to go, so we thought we'd get you prepared for the big one. First, let's talk safety. You don't want to mess around with staring at the sun. You need the right equipment to view the partial stages of the eclipse, when only part of the sun is blocked by the moon.
If even a little sliver of the sun is showing, you need eye protection. The cheapest and easiest method is to use eclipse shades or number 14 welder's glasses. These have such dark lenses in them that they are safe to look through at the sun anytime. Just be sure your eyes are blocked whenever you're looking.
Do not use regular sunglasses, CDs, film negatives, smoke glass, foil wrappers, or mylar balloons. They will not protect you. Use the good stuff. You can find eclipse glasses and number 14 welder's glass online for a few bucks. But shop early before they sell out.
You could make a pinhole camera as well. Let the sun shine through a hole in a piece of paper onto the ground, and you can make an image of the sun.
You may also see the sunlight coming through leaves onto the ground in a weird way. During really strong partial solar eclipses, the leaves act like lots of pinhole cameras. Okay, on to the main event. This is what will happen on August 21st if you're viewing from most places in the country.
The moon will slowly slide between us and the sun and eclipse more and more of it. Everywhere in the United States will experience a partial solar eclipse. But to see the total solar eclipse, you have to be on a specific 75-mile wide path from Oregon to South Carolina.
Just before totality, you will see what's called the diamond ring. It's the last rays of sunlight poking around the mountains of the moon. A moment later, whoosh, it will look like the sun is gone. There will be a perfect black hole with the wispy atmosphere of the sun, called the corona, shining. At this point, you can actually look at it without any glasses because you're really looking at the moon.
Look all around you because the light is going to be really weird.
The bright stars will come out and the temperature will plummet.
Take it all in. We haven't had a total solar eclipse in the mainland United States since 1979. But totality won't last long. After a little more than 2 minutes, the sun will peak around the moon again. When the diamond ring returns, you'll have to put your eclipse glasses back on, and then you can watch the rest of the partial stages.
It's really quick,
but totally awesome.
So you have just 1 month to prepare for the total solar eclipse. Buy your eclipse or welder's glasses today.
Now, we know that not everyone lives on the path where the total solar eclipse will be happening.
And we also know this is going to happen on a Monday, so that means you may have to play hooky from work or school to see the big one.
To find out where the total solar eclipse will be visible, check out NASA's eclipse page or do a Google search for 2017 eclipse map, and you can plan your route.
Don't settle for an 80% or 90% eclipse. That's only 10% of the experience. A total solar eclipse is something you will never forget. Keep looking up.
Okay, back with the sea ice analysis for July 20th. We're going to have open waters here pretty much through the lower Chukchi Sea, and the main body of ice is still over the Beaufort Sea. Some ice making it down to from Barrow eastward, just west, well, just to Dead Horse there. But the winds for tomorrow are going to be southeasterly, so it'll help push the sea ice to the northwest. But then by Saturday, we're going to have westerly flow predominantly, so the sea ice will again move back into the original position. So we'll probably look about the same position as it is right now. Otherwise, for Friday's marine forecast for the southeast, for the inside waters, you can have southeasterly, the southerly all the way up to Lynn Canal, 20 knots. And then the outside waters, small craft winds, southerly to southeasterly. Then they transition to more easterly as you get up towards Yakutat. Wave heights, again, will be 8 to 10 feet on the outside waters there. And then for Saturday, they're going to continue light 10 to 15 knots southeasterly, then more southerly 10 to 20 as you get to Lynn Canal, a little stronger there. Wave heights about 3 feet. And then the outside waters, southerly 20 knots, and then transitions to easterly 20 to 10 knots towards Yakutat. Wave heights will be anywhere from 6 to 8 feet. And then Friday's marine forecast for South Central, light and variable through the Prince William Sound as well as the Barren Islands. Otherwise, on the waters here extending from the northern coastal communities all the way down to the eastern Kenai, pretty much all northeasterly 20 knots. A little stronger as you get just east of the Barren Islands, 25, extending all the way down to just east of the Kodiak Island. Otherwise, through the Cook Inlet, southern and northern Cook Inlet, are going to be southerly 15 to southwesterly 15. All the way through the Bering Strait, they're going to be northeasterly 25, wave heights around 6. And then for Saturday, light and variable through the Prince William Sound as well as the Barren Islands, extending down through the Bering Shalikoff Strait region there. Otherwise, the waters from the east of the Barren Islands are going to be southwesterly 15 to easterly 15, extending out to the northern coastal communities or northern Gulf here. Not the Bering, excuse me, but the Cook Inlet, southern and northern, you're going to have southwesterly to southerly at 10 knots, and then southeasterly flow there just on the east side of the Kodiak Island. And then Friday's marine forecast for Alaska Peninsula or the AKPen, pretty much on the Bering side, you're going to have northeasterly 10, northerly 15 as you get closer to Cold Bay. And then on the Pacific side, small craft 25 knots northeasterly, then transition to northerly as you get just east of the Shumagon Islands. Then Saturday marine forecast, pretty much the Bering all westerly flow 15 knots, and then light and variable 10 knots on the Pacific side. Wave heights will be anywhere from 3 to 5 feet. And then Friday marines forecast for the Aleutians, pretty much on the Bering side, northerly flow, then light and variable as you get towards the western Aleutians, and then Shemya transitions to more southerly 15 knots. On the Pacific side, from Dutch east westward, you're going to have a northerly 20 knots to northeasterly as you get towards Atka. And then Saturday, pretty much light and variable from Atka eastward all the way to the Dutch. You're going to have light and variable. Then from Atka westward through Shemya, you're going to have southerly knots, 20 knots there. And Friday's marine forecast for the west coast, pretty much through the northern Bering, you're going to have southwesterly 25 knots, small craft there. But otherwise, you're going to be westerly to northwesterly and then transition to more northerly. Again, with this ridge of high pressure building into the Bering, that's why you have this flow there. And then you're going to be northerly 15 knots over the Pribilofs. And then Saturday, again, the high pressure ridge building in, you're going to have pretty much all southwesterly, small craft winds anywhere from 25 to 30 knots, southerly there going into the northern Bering. Otherwise, you're going to be westerly going through the Kuskokwim Bay, and then also westerly through the Pribilof section. And then Friday's marine forecasts pretty much are going to be all southeasterly through the north slope, as well as the northwest coastline. It is southerly 25 as you come up through the Bering Strait region. And then from Kotovik eastward, there'll be west winds 25. And then Saturday's marine forecast, pretty much from the north slope all the way eastward along the Arctic coastline, going to be all small craft 25 to 30 knots, wave heights around 6 feet. And then over the lower Chukchi Sea and the Bering Strait, you're going to have southerly 25 knots, and then southeasterly there off the Point Hope at 10 knots. And then tonight's forecast, again, you're going to have high pressure dominating the Bering. Again, with that, you're going to have a light rain and drizzle and fog throughout the Bering. You got this weak stationary front extending through the lower Chukchi Sea, as well as along the Brooks Range, hooking up to this low pressure that's sitting over the Arctic Village region here, or Eagle Airport. With that, you'll have some isolated thunderstorms for tonight. And then along the Alaska Range, extending down through the lower Auckland Mountains and the Kuskokwim Mountains here, you're going to have some scattered rain showers. In the Gulf, you have this included low pressure system with a included front extending just south of Hattagwai. And with that, you have continued southeasterly flow. That'll bring some moisture into the southeast panhandle, and that'll continue to move westward all the way over and make it into the Kodiak region, as well as along the eastern Kenai and the Prince William Sound region. And then Friday's forecast, the high pressure remains the same, ridge building all the way up through the lower Chukchi. So with that, you'll have some isolated patchy fog here and there and some light drizzle. Otherwise, you have a front that's going to be dropping down through the eastern Siberian region. And with that, you have a stationary front draping over the Wainwright region, all the way extending down to the eastern Brooks Range. With that, you'll have some scattered rain showers. High pressure will be over the Arctic slope from Barrow eastward. So with that, you'll have some fog issues. Otherwise, along the Alaska Range, you'll have the scattered rain showers forming over the mountains. They'll move off of them in the afternoon, extending all the way down through the Bristol Bay interior. The southeast, you have a low pressure system that includes a system that's fallen apart. So continued onshore flow through the southeast panhandle with that light rain and drizzle and some fog. And then Saturday's forecast, you have this included low that's dropping down off the eastern Siberian region with the cold front extending through the western Bering and northern Bering. So out ahead of that, you'll have some scattered rain showers and some fog over the eastern Bering associated with this ridge of high pressure. And then the stationary front extending through the Brooks Range, that'll bring scattered rain showers. Southeast, you'll have the included low that's fallen apart to just a weak trough. Those will push through and bring scattered showers along the southeast panhandle and some scattered showers along there. We'll see you tomorrow.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.